It cannot be just seasonal. It has to be permanent. And that's the relationship with God, the way I found it. So after this experience of hell that I related to yesterday, the Lord spoke to me again. And I was like suspended on top of that Dalmatian state. And the Lord spoke to me at length. Like I said yesterday, I could spend 100 years developing this mystical experience because it flows unceasingly out of me. It flows and flows. And among the things he said, he spoke to me about humanity. And he said that humanity is going through the darkest time ever spiritually. And it's going to get darker. But the world has never been more seductive and enchanting as today. And it's going to get more seductive and more enchanting. Because the devil knows that we are at the very end of the very end times. Like I said yesterday, it wasn't about human time. It's not like God was showing to me that things were going to be over in January. That's like I said yesterday. If someone comes along and tells you that the world is going to be over next Tuesday, then you know it's a false prophet, right? So it's not about human time at all, but it's about a spiritual warfare, the last battle between good and evil for the souls that are here and the ones that are remaining to come. Because the Lord told me that He has a plan. And that plan is the economy of salvation. And it brings in an exact number of souls that will enter the kingdom. And those souls are the ones that God creates on earth. He creates us here, and we begin here. He taught me how to use the Old Testament against the New Testament. And he said, we see the people of God in Egypt for a few centuries. They were on exile. And He took them out of the exile through the desert into the promised land. And He said, that is a figure of what we are to understand of our lives. We are in Egypt, and we are created in Egypt, which is earthly life. And the desert is our conversion, is walking with God. We're in this Egypt. And the promised land is the city of Jerusalem, the city of light that I saw in that mountain. That is our home. It's not on earth. That's why Jesus told Pontius Pilate that His kingdom was not of this world. And that is the kingdom. That city of light is where we're going. We are citizens of that city. We have been granted that citizenship. And we are already accepted. We have inherited that citizenship. But we have to make it there. So we have to go through all of this. So He said to me, we are created in Egypt. And we have to make it out of here, following the tracks of the Lord Jesus. So He called me upon the awareness of what we're facing today. The devil is making sure that we are busy 24 hours a day. So that's why all the toys are out. All the cards are on the table because he's a gambler. So he's got all the cards out, all the toys out, and he's going to produce even more toys to entertain us. You see, our biggest weakness ever because of original sin is entertainment. We need to be entertained. Why? Because we ate a knowledge we're not supposed to have. And we have to entertain that knowledge. And that knowledge is thirsty for entertaining, for information, for ideas, for creativity. So the devil feeds that, you see, by the second. And he wants to keep us awake 24 hours a day. So he's got a display of information and goods out there to keep us awake and to keep us entertained, because he knows that is our biggest weakness. So you know, today people are thirsty. Some people have the walls filled with diplomas, all kinds of stuff. And you ask them at the end, what good did it do to your soul? Did you change your heart because you have 4 doctor's degrees? Are you a better human being? Are you a saint? You see, did it work for you? Did it make any sense? You see, if you were to save souls and to save people in a given way, it makes sense that you study so much. But most of the time it's because of pride and greed that people study so much. Most of the time it's because of original sin, that you want to pack yourself with all kinds of information and be proud of all the things you're holding and knowing. I mean, what for? What good does it do for you to be so prepared when your heart is a mess? So it doesn't make any sense. But that doesn't mean that human knowledge is bad or evil or demonic. Not at all, because God made everything good. It's that sometimes we make things bad. The same knife that is able to cut a piece of bread will also be able to kill a human being. And it's not that the knife is evil, but the hand that holds it could be evil. And that's why the knife can be used both ways. So the material world could be used for good or for wrong or for bad. But God gives us the opportunity to build ourselves into the Spirit, because that is what really counts. So He called me upon my Catholic faith, and He showed to me how He created me a Catholic. And that's the word He used. He created me a Catholic. And He said, no one could ever become a Catholic. You have to have been created one. So even when someone comes into the faith at 60 years of age, that person was created a Catholic from the very beginning. Only that in God's pedagogy, in the mysterious pedagogy of God, that person was to come into the fullness of the gift at age 60. That is His plan. It's His plan. And all the life of that person is going to be used at that moment of the blooming of the faith. So He showed me how I was to come into the fullness of my mission at that age when He called me. I was 47, not before. And He explained to me, when Jesus was in the wedding of Cana, there is a big teaching there. Our Lady asked Him to do something about the wine that they didn't have. Our Lady was asking, she knew she was asking for something supernatural. She wasn't asking for anything natural. And she knew He could do it. And what was His answer? It's not my time yet. We have to understand what it means. You know, He knew there was an exact time for things to take place. And He was 30 years old already. You see, it was right before He came into the public life. And remember, He said His time was not up yet. And still He did it because of Our Lady. That's when we see how powerful her intercession is and the role she plays with Jesus. She can get things out of Him anytime. So, and if she did that, you know, she can do anything. So that's one of the most beautiful presentations of Our Lady. I mean, if anyone wants to know the role of Our Lady, just read the Wedding of Cana and you see what she can do. You see, it's amazing what she did. It wasn't the time yet, and it's God Himself talking, and still she moved Him to do it. So that's amazing. So now, the Lord showed me that passage to teach me how to understand my life. And I didn't know at that moment of my experience what was happening, because I didn't know what He meant until that took place after my kidnapping. Because I never thought I was going to come back anyways. I thought I was gone from this world. So He explained to me how Satan stole the faith from me when I was 14 years old, when he stole from me the sacrament of reconciliation. Because he knew if he steals from me the sacrament of confession, he will harden my heart. Because the moment you stop kneeling and confessing, you build your heart into pride. And your faith becomes just a religion. And then you are a weak instrument, and the Eucharist will never be able to be displayed from you the way it's supposed to be, because you're not prepared as an instrument. Your instrument is hard and is not prepared, because you are built in pride. So we need to understand the mystery behind the sacrament of reconciliation. It's so powerful. Like I was saying this morning, the Lord showed it to me in the scriptures, what it says when He appeared the first time after resurrection, and they were reunited behind doors, and He went through the closed doors